Daro, the situation you just named, was that on film? Did someone film that?
No, no one filmed it because it was only me and him and no one else. So, and it was very new because it was one of the first clashes. It was the first day of the clash. So
Right.
I don't think any of us expected that kind of attack on journalists. And in response to the protesters building like barricades and using fireworks against the raid police, the Georgian government they implemented a ban on pyrotechnics, face coverings, and commonly used by demonstrators, to protect against tear gas and to evade the identification. So now it's all prohibited. And this is a law. I think it came when it will, Sophiko, maybe
Yeah,
like
it
when.
was today, but I think the president has to sign it into the law. It didn't happen yet, but it's, yeah.
I'm going to take a few of these questions that are popping up in the from viewers. First, and I don't know which of you would be most, perhaps Sophiko, you could take this. How important is it that protests have been happening also outside of Tbilisi? This person says they've been seeing footage from, many other towns. Is that significant?
Yeah, of course it is significant because when we're talking about the scope, that it is not diminishing or but it is increasing. It doesn't include only the capital Tbilisi, but also includes the other cities and towns. And I was listening to the president's interview the other day, and she said in 41 towns and the cities the protests were held. They are big or small, but still people are protesting, which is very important. And even the towns that we have never ever heard that some protest movements existed, the towns now that the people are getting out. So it is important because it shows that it's not only capital when the people want to be part of the EU, it is also the think that they all is something that the Georgians united, right? It is in the big cities or small cities, the people are protesting and they want to defend their European future, and it is very important development.
And I imagine part of that, someone asked about the information environment and the role social media is playing. Is that connecting these communities? Is there a Russian hand on social media? Like, just describe the information environment for us a little bit. Sophie, or actually, Daro, maybe you could take that.
No, I was thinking with the traditional media often under pressure, like we are now. I think citizens use social media to report the event in real time. So videos of police violence and protesters' injuries are, they're posted and they're taken by just regular citizens and protesters. So I think it gives it's raising awareness of the governmental actions. So it also has a role in this direction.
Will, do you have anything more to add on the information environment? I don't know if you guys can see this question here on the side.
Yeah, one amazing thing that happened pretty early on is that people started going to the public broadcaster and forcing themselves inside to take because that's basically the only channel that's going to reach the regions, often where people aren't really using Facebook and stuff. And so there were efforts made very early on to do that. I don't know how directly effective they were, but for me, that was very symbolic of an effort to get the entire country involved. And the fact that the entire country is involved is very, very important. It says a lot because otherwise it would be written off as just a Tbilisi elite type thing, which it is very much not. So.
Daro, you were describing some ways in which journalists were sort of supporting each other. Can you just go into that a little bit as you're out, on the ground? How are you having to change how you're operating?
Yes, I think there's a huge support with all of us. Even when we don't know each other, we feel protected because if we stick together. For example, with the cameraman and me that I was mentioning the story earlier, we really took care of each other as in kind of escaping this how we were surrounded by police. We were helping each other kind of jump over the steps and helping each other up and putting this the eye drops in the eyes. So it was like not, we don't know each other, but we take care of each other because we know that we are at a danger of being attacked. So whenever we see each other with the colleagues see each other, we pretty much feel obligated and feel responsible for each other's safety. So I did feel that a lot. Like when I go out to photograph, when I see my colleagues around, I feel more safe. So I think that's quite. It's a nice feeling to have this.
Yeah. Anything else that either of you want to add to that, what you've been seeing and how journalists are changing how they're having to operate?
Yeah, I can add because there's this kind of small press center organized, and journalists sometimes get there to have a safe space, and we were all there, like local journalists, foreign journalists. We didn't know each other. Not all of us were acquainted, but we heard about the attack on one of the small streets against the local TV crew. And then when somebody wanted to get out of the press center, all of the journalists were saying, no, don't go alone. We have to organize the small groups. We have to move together. And it was kind of a really empowering because seeing such a unity, such a compassion, and really that night was really very scary night. And all of the journalists tried to be together and kind of in small groups to move, even not to leave the premises of the press center alone. That was a really good thing to see, the solidarity we had.
Yeah.
Before I move back to some bigger picture questions that are coming up in the chat, Will, you had described some of the tactics of the protesters too, which are pretty inventive, actually. Can you go into that?
So there's one, it's an amazing app, and they've just launched a new one. So the one, it's called Overview, and it's through Telegram. And protesters are just marking the positions of the police on these maps because if you can imagine, Tbilisi, there's the main street is called Rustaveli Avenue, and that's where this all takes place, right in front of Parliament. And then the side streets are where everyone goes, usually to get away, but that's where the police and then the Titushki, which are these masked guys in black hired by the government to beat everybody up. That's where people are getting cornered and attacked. So, yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's called Overview. And so by marking where the police positions are, it shows you where to avoid. And now they're marking where protesters are to show where you can be safe because usually you get attacked if you're alone. That's one of the things and if you see in these videos, it's just this mass of black and they just grab you and pull you out of the crowd. And then there's just one extraordinary video of a woman, I'm trying to find her name, who just got fed up. This may have been the third or fourth day. And she just started screaming at this line, like a legion of riot police, and just said, what is wrong with you? Who do you think you are? I am so tired of this. And she walked up and just walked straight into them and walked into the line. They were afraid. They didn't even grab her. She just walked straight through. She just was so fed up. And I think they fined her 720, I guess, no, yeah, 870 euros it would have been. Her name was Nana Tomaradze. And I just think that shows so much about that. Just image just said everything for me. And another thing I want to mention too that's terrifying is the police are now stopping people at metros and they're confiscating helmets, masks, and even flags. And not just European flags, they're confiscating Georgian flags. And I think that says everything. That, they're stopping people looking through their bags for essentially what they would call protest equipment. And fireworks, sure, I can understand if they're trying to ban that, but if they're taking Georgian flags, that says quite a lot.